This isn't a family feud anymore. This is a full-scale royal counterattack, and Prince Harry didn't see it coming until the door slammed shut behind him. For years, the world watched one brother speak and the other stay silent. Harry talked, William absorbed, Harry accused, William endured, and everyone assumed that silence meant weakness, that restraint meant fear, that patience meant surrender. They were wrong, because while Harry was selling his truth to publishers, cameras, and courts, Prince William was building something far more dangerous. A weapon so calculated, so modern, so brutally effective that palace insiders say it has already changed the balance of power inside the monarchy forever. This is the story of how the future king stopped playing defense and why Harry's legal threats no longer scare anyone. For a long time, the pattern was painfully predictable. Harry would drop a bombshell, a memoir chapter, an interview line, a conveniently timed leak. The palace would respond with nothing, maybe a stiff sentence, maybe silence, and the media would explode while William stood there taking the hits. That era is dead. Behind closed doors, something shifted. Sources say William reached a breaking point, not emotional, not impulsive, but cold and deliberate. The kind of moment where a man decides he's done protecting someone who is actively trying to burn his life down. This wasn't rage, this was strategy. What William built wasn't just a response team, it was a war room, a crisis operation modeled not on royal tradition, but on the most ruthless corporate and political battles in the modern world. Professionals who don't do, never complain, never explain. Professionals who understand one brutal truth: in today's media climate, silence isn't dignity, it's defeat. And Harry's team allegedly panicked when they realized what had changed, because this new operation doesn't wait for stories to land. It anticipates them. It doesn't react emotionally, it responds surgically. Every leak meets a counter-narrative. Every legal move meets pressure in public opinion. Every accusation meets documentation. William didn't swing back loudly. He swung back intelligently. The timing alone tells you everything. This strategic shift came exactly as Harry's security case began wobbling behind the scenes. Exactly as memoir sales cooled. Exactly as Netflix momentum faded. William didn't rush. He waited. He watched. He let Harry talk himself into corners. And then he moved. Insiders say the hired crisis specialist operates in something called litigation public relations, a concept Harry underestimated completely. While lawyers fight slowly in courtrooms, these specialists fight fast in headline timelines and public perception. You don't need to win legally if you win reputationally, and William's camp is playing to win both. Harry's entire post-exit strategy depended on one assumption: that William would never fight back, that royal decorum would shield him forever, that dignity would force silence no matter how hard the attacks landed. That assumption has collapsed. Now, every time Harry's team pushes a narrative, they're met with something sharper, faster, and better sourced. Not insults, not denials, receipts, context. Quiet contradictions released at exactly the right moment. And nowhere is this more dangerous for Harry than in his ongoing security battle. Publicly, Harry framed it as simple: a prince unfairly stripped of protection, a father worried about his family, a man asking for safety. But behind the curtain, legal observers said the case is riddled with vulnerabilities Harry's own mouth created. Interviews where he downplayed risk, memoir passages where he revealed details his lawyers now regret, appearances where he looked perfectly comfortable without the very protection he claims is essential. William's team allegedly compiled all of it. Every contradiction, every quote, every moment where emotion overruled strategy. And here's the brutal irony: the media campaign that Harry thought would help his case may have handed William the ammunition to dismantle it. Sources describe a simple, devastating counter-question being quietly circulated: how does someone demand taxpayer-funded protection from an institution they publicly attack, ridicule, and accuse? How do you claim fear while insisting you desperately want to return? These aren't emotional arguments, they're logical traps, and Harry walked straight into them. But the legal pressure is only half the story. The emotional front is where things get even uglier. Behind the scenes, insiders describe Harry as increasingly isolated, reaching out to family members who no longer respond, messages ignored, calls unanswered. Attempts at reconciliation met not with rejection but silence. And silence, this time, is intentional. Sources say William issued a blunt directive directive to palace staff, shut this down. No messages passed along, no side channels, no emotional loopholes. The door Harry slammed on his way out has been sealed from the inside. What stuns observers is Harry's apparent inability to understand why. He seems to believe truth-telling should erase consequences, that public accusations should coexist with private forgiveness, that he can decide when the damage is over. But relationships don't work that way. Institutions don't work that way. And centuries-old systems certainly don't reset because someone feels misunderstood. One insider put it coldly, he broke something that cannot be fixed with apologies. And that realization that the family he attacked has moved on without him is reportedly rattling Harry more than any lawsuit ever could. Because now, for the first time, he's not just fighting the system, he's fighting irrelevance. And this is where William's strategy becomes truly terrifying. Instead of exploding publicly, instead of engaging directly, his team practices strategic transparency, controlled information released with precision, not chaos, not denial, just enough truth at the right time to puncture narratives before they harden. Harry's camp fires a shot. A response lands before the echo fades. Checkers versus chess. And Harry, for the first time, is realizing he's outmatched. But this is only the beginning, because insiders say William's team has prepared something far more dangerous, something they hope never to use, but absolutely will if Harry escalates again. And that's where this story turns nuclear. This is where the story stops being tense and starts becoming dangerous. Because what Prince William has prepared isn't just a counter strategy, it's a deterrent. A silent warning wrapped in quiet competence. A message so clear that those who've seen even fragments of it say Harry should never ever force its release. Palace insiders call it the nuclear option. Not a single document, not one explosive revelation, but a comprehensive historical accounting, timelines, communications, verifiable contradictions, and receipts so detailed that any journalist could independently confirm them without palace assistance. And that's the genius of it. No accusations, no mudslinging, just facts lined up like dominoes waiting for the first push. Sources say Williams' team has cataloged years of inconsistencies, claims that shifted, stories that evolved, allegations that didn't survive contact with dates, emails, or witnesses, public narratives that collapsed when placed next to private realities. This isn't revenge, it's leverage. And the threat isn't we'll destroy you. The threat is far worse, we'll make sure no one ever believes you again. Because in modern reputation warfare, credibility is oxygen. Once it's gone, nothing else matters. This preparation exists for one reason only: escalation control. William doesn't want to deploy it. He doesn't need to. The mere knowledge that it exists may already be enough to freeze Harry's next move. But here's the problem. Harry has never been known for strategic restraint. Sources close to the situation say his reaction to being shut out legally, emotionally, institutionally hasn't been reflection. It's been frustration, a sense of betrayal layered on top of entitlement, the belief that if he just pushes harder, someone will break. What he doesn't understand is that William already broke years ago, and what emerged afterward is far colder. For decades, William's instinct was protection. Shield the institution, shield the family, shield his brother from consequences, even when it cost him personally. That instinct is gone. Insiders say the calculus changed when William realized silence wasn't neutral anymore, it was enabling. Every unanswered accusation hardened into accepted truth. Every unrebutted claim rewrote history in real time. So he stopped absorbing damage. And once that happened, Harry lost his greatest advantage. But the most devastating twist in this entire saga isn't legal, it's personal. Because while Harry continues to fight old wars, Meghan appears to be quietly exiting the battlefield altogether. Sources describe a noticeable divergence behind the scenes. Meghan's public focus has shifted. Lifestyle branding, entrepreneurship, curated aspiration, less grievance, less royal conflict, less Britain, new projects, new imagery, new tone. Meanwhile, Harry remains locked in combat, court filings, security battles, unresolved anger. And William's team has noticed. Quietly, carefully, a new narrative has begun circulating. Not loudly, not aggressively, but persistently. The suggestion that even Meghan recognizes the diminishing returns of perpetual royal warfare, that she's building a future that doesn't rely on attacking the monarchy, and the implication that Harry isn't. One insider put it brutally, she's building an exit ramp, he doesn't even realize he needs one. Whether that's fair or strategic misdirection doesn't really matter. Because once a narrative exists, it doesn't need to be true to be powerful, it only needs to be plausible. And this one is. Observers note the contrast. Meghan's projects look forward, Harry's grievances look backward. Meghan's messaging is aspirational. Harry's is reactive. Meghan is expanding her identity. Harry is trapped inside his. William's crisis operation doesn't invent these optics, it amplifies them. And that's where Harry becomes most vulnerable. Because isolation is dangerous, not just emotionally, strategically. Without institutional support, without family access, without unquestioned credibility, every move becomes higher risk. Every escalation invites scrutiny. Every new claim invites receipts. And the most chilling detail of all, William doesn't need to speak. Not now. Not ever. The system he built does the work for him. Information is released through proxies. Context is provided by third parties. Journalists connect dots without being told where to look. The future king stays clean above the chaos while the battlefield shifts underneath Harry's feet. It's asymmetric warfare perfected, and Harry has no equivalent response. His entire public identity has been built on confrontation, on exposure, on storytelling, on emotional appeal. Those tools only work when the other side refuses to engage. Now the engagement is relentless, but invisible. Legal observers say Harry's security case, once framed as moral certainty, now looks like a strategic misfire. Negotiations that were expected to bend didn't. Assumptions about royal behavior proved outdated. Leverage evaporated. And behind every closed-door discussion sits the same unspoken realization: this institution no longer fears escalation. That's the moment Harry lost. Because institutions that have survived centuries don't panic, they adapt. And when adaptation kicks in, individuals rarely win. The most devastating part? Harry is no longer treated as a misunderstood son. He's treated as a variable to be managed, a risk to be neutralized, a problem to be contained, not out of cruelty, but necessity. William's transformation isn't emotional, it's structural. He looked at the threat his brother represents, legally, reputationally, historically, and decided the old rules no longer applied. The patience people mistook for weakness was preparation. And now, every move Harry makes costs more than the last. He can de-escalate, accept that the game has changed, that leverage is gone, that silence might finally serve him better than speaking. Or he can push and trigger a response that doesn't shout but documents. Because once the nuclear option is deployed, there's no walking it back, no resetting the narrative, no reclaiming the moral high ground, only footnotes, only timelines, only doubt. The brother who believed he controlled the story is discovering the story has moved on without him. And the brother who refused to play for years has revealed the truth no one wanted to say out loud: he was never weak, he was waiting. Never weak, he was waiting. Never weak, he was waiting. Never weak.